FTI community, welcome back to the In Your Studio podcast. Today is February 28th. That is my first time telling the FTI community what the date is on a podcast. I am joined by an 8-year content creator. He is both a Twitch streamer and a Twitch affiliate. He is a collector of many, and I mean many forms of pop culture memorabilia, and he has over 1,000 physical games in his library, and he is in competition with Emerson Corleone, Shoot Mega Matt, for always showing love to what FTI is going on. I mean, the moment we post a story, I can see htorr441 always at the very top of that notification. And FTI community, I am joined by the multi-platform content creator, the incredible Hector, htorr441. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing incredible, especially that I'm here with you and everyone else listening. It's a wonderful day, and it's a wonderful day to be here specifically. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah. I'll warn you in advance. Hell yeah is my catchphrase, and so is yes, sir. So
go ahead. I like those.
What has your year looked like so far? Like, has there been anything kind of like memorable already to kick off 2025?
That's a very, very good question. I would say there's nothing in specific that has like stood out incredibly compared to like other years, but I've definitely been like in the background just working on a couple more projects that I want to put out there. And I definitely have just been trying to like spend time with friends and spend time with family, just trying to like enjoy the year to the fullest. Just life is so short and you just got to enjoy it, so in every way you can. So that's been my year so far. How about yours?
Honestly, like as we were talking about before we went live, I was trying to hold myself to that schedule of like doing like podcasts and everything on certain days, and like you slowly like say, okay, tomorrow we can do it, and then that tomorrow turns into like 2 weeks, because pulling the curtain back, we've been trying to plan this for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
But I would message you like, I need a few more days. I want to make sure this is good. You actually have opened up the door to the very first thing I want to talk about, why we've celebrated you this week here at FTI, your content creating career. You have absolutely something for everyone, and I mean everyone, to enjoy. Whether it is taking your community along to conventions, retrospective looks on video games, or even kicking back for a Twitch live stream, where I should mention you are a Twitch affiliate. Everything up until this point has been absolutely incredible. But for those who have yet to tune into the world of htorr441, hit us with an introduction. Who are you? What are you all about?
Well, my name is htorr441. I am, like he mentioned, a content creator for 8 years. I focus on a variety of different content, vlogs, focusing on conventions, other amazing events that I want to go to this year. I also do video game stuff. I have a video game collection of just 1,000 different games, and one day I'll just pick out a game and be like, this game is interesting. I'm going to focus on it and make a retrospective. I love researching about video games, learning not only just the game itself and the gameplay, but like the development on like maybe the background details and why developers maybe focused on this aspect of the game or why they included that. So I'm just kind of like a history geek in general, and when it comes to video games. So I just love showing that to people who are willing to watch my videos. So honestly, I just want to provide something for people to enjoy, to sit down. I have a mentality of just, in this world, at least, we consume a lot. So I feel like there comes to a certain point where after you consume so much different content, so many different videos, you just want to give something to the world back, and I feel like through content creation, I am doing my part in providing something new for others.
Words out of my mouth for what I wanted to talk about. I want to say, when you told me that you have over 1,000 video games in your collection, the very first thing that came to my mind was it must have started at a young age of just collecting for the consoles you owned as, like, as a child, but like as you grew up, as you saw like your physical collection grow and like kind of you explored different like genres of video games. Do you remember kind of like the first console or like the first like genre of games that expanded your horizon into collecting over 1,000?
Oh yeah. I can pinpoint exactly where I was. I wouldn't, not year wise, but I maybe can get an estimate. it was a Christmas, maybe let's say 2008. I was super young. My one of my cousins was moving over to college, so he was getting rid of his stuff. And what he gave me for Christmas that year was a Nintendo 64 with a ton of different games. I'm talking bangers like Super Mario 64, Banjo
Banger,
Kazooie, Super
banger,
Smash Brothers,
banger.
NFL Blitz. You know, the if you like those NFL games, just a ton of different fun games. Star Fox 64, I love that game. But what was funny is my parents were really anti-video games for most of my life. I just grew up in a really strict household, so I wasn't really allowed to game and stuff like that. So I had the console. They kept it in like the attic till I was older to actually enjoy it. And maybe it came to around like late elementary school that they finally let me play. And I remember my first game that I loaded up on there was Super Mario 64. I was playing that, exploring the world, just jumping into the paintings, exploring the castle. It just such like a good feeling. And starting from there, it was like, I think my next console was a Game Boy Advance. I had a Game Boy Advance. That was my go-to for like, playing at home, playing on the road and everything. And just slowly, maybe one Christmas, my cousin gave me a Wii, and then eventually, my parents later in the year, a couple years later, bought me a Wii U for Christmas. And I think what ended up happening, and the reason I have so many games, is it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of the memories you create, the things you get attached to. And at least for me, every single video game, every single console represents a different era of my life, a core memory. Like I remember playing this game with a friend. I remember playing that when I was younger, dealing with this. So just it's hard to let go. And now I'm over 1,000 video games physically, and just every single game holds something of importance to me in my life. And just like you mentioned, different genres, different consoles, different everything.
Especially knowing like the consoles, like pinpoint, as you mentioned, like a different aspect of your life, like kind of like how I talked to Wednesday years ago, was like their
Yeah.
chapters of who you were, but with video games. Your cousin's also pretty sick just to kind of like
Oh
hand
yeah.
off a console, because I give my cousins clothes, but I can't ever like come to terms with like handing an actual console.
No, I sometimes think about like, I think one day he asked me like, "Do you still have the Nintendo 64?" I'm like, "Of course I still do." And he's like, "Whenever I come over to your house again, like I have to play that." I'm like, "Go ahead,
Yeah.
you gave it to me. Like it shaped my childhood. You can relive yours. I'm more than down."
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about all those games you mentioned? You
Yeah.
didn't mention Ocarina of Time, and the only reason I say it's interesting because Ganondorf is exactly what your avatar is inspired
Yeah.
by. So, like, how did kind of like what was your first like interaction with Zelda then?
The first interaction with Zelda, I think, was when I got a Wii. Of course, I knew Link through Smash Brothers, but I
Yes.
remember getting a Wii and then getting Brawl. And for me, I remember when I got Brawl, that was a big game. Subspace Emissary, the story mode, just everything, the dark aesthetics of the game was just amazing. And I remember one thing was playing, they offered like virtual console demos, and they offered like a
Yes.
demo of Ocarina of Time. And I remember playing that, and I'm like, this is really cool. And my cousin did not own Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, or at least he didn't give them to
Okay.
me. So I'm not sure what happened to them. He says he owned them at one point, but at least it's not in my possession. So when I actually played it on the virtual console, it convinced me to pick up the game Ocarina of Time on the Wii, and I played that. And the game I fell in love more between both of those was Majora's Mask. I love the dark aesthetics and everything, but as
Yeah.
a villain, Ganondorf resonated with me more. And when it came time, like I remember Smash Bros. Wii U had just come out, and 3DS in 2014 or so. The main I chose, because one of my favorite video games of all time is Kid Icarus Uprising on 3DS.
Okay.
Amazing game. I chose Dark Pit. But after a while, I chose Ganondorf. And for the longest time, even till Ultimate, Ganondorf was my main in Smash Brothers. And I remember just playing Smash Bros. A bit competitively, and Ganondorf was what I was known for. So when I created my channel, everyone knew me as that Ganondorf player that was like wrecking everyone. And it just stuck with me, and that's why like my persona, my like avatar is Ganondorf, because or a little interpretation of it, because he's just like the character that everyone associates me with for whatever reason.
That is actually so sick to know too. Because when I was preparing like this interview and like
Yeah.
these questions, I was kind of just like trying to like find like the comparison from like you, like your avatar to Ganondorf was really hard because you have like Ganondorf, as you mentioned, has like these dark tones and he's a
Yeah.
villain, but you're like the total opposite.
No.
Like
Yeah.
friendly, cozy, welcoming. So I was kind of just like what is like the center? But it being a Smash main makes
Yeah,
total sense because, like, for example, my Smash main for the longest time we had Kirby, Pikachu, Mega Man, and then who did I first main? And Toon Link. But
Toon
on
Link fun. Yeah.
Brawl, I did it because I was obsessed, and to this day, my favorite game of all time is Wind Waker. But I
Wind Waker is
remember,
good.
dude,
It's amazing. People don't give enough love.
so
Have you played Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks? The Spirit, not successors
yes,
in a way. Spirit Tracks is my favorite Legend of Zelda game to date. If I had to choose
okay.
one, people don't give enough love, but if I had to choose one, that game is incredible. Incredible.
That is one of those games where it's like it's on the shelf of like what they could remaster, but like
Yes,
doing a stylus and like trying to make it work on like a
it's
Switch
difficult. It's
2, it'd be
difficult,
so
but
hard.
the Switch 2 has a weird mouse sensor thing with their Joy-Con. That's what everyone's saying. So, I mean, perfect time, Nintendo. Take advantage. Give us
Launch
ports.
title.
Launch title, Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass. Let's go.
when you and I, now that I know this, we're like only one of, well, I guess two of the people that own a Wii U on this planet. What did you think about the Wii U for the time when you had it? Were you kind of like a Nintendo fanboy sticking up, or you're like, no, this is the Switch is coming, even though I don't know what the Switch is yet? Like, were you
So,
hoping for something?
when I got a Wii U, the main reason I had gotten it was Smash Brothers. I was a big Smash Bros. Nerd, and Smash Bros. I had a 3DS, so I was when that came out because the 3DS version came out first. I was playing that on the go all the time, like in middle school. And then I got a Wii U that Christmas, and Smash Bros. Wii U was my game. And like I
Yes,
remember just in that period of time, at least to me, the Nintendo community felt really together. It felt
agreed.
really connected. Like every content creator, like Scott the Woz and everyone was just creating different pieces of things around the Wii U, and it just felt super close. And Smash Brothers was like the big connecting factor. And sure, I remember at the time I was a Nintendo fanboy. I'll admit I didn't not own a PlayStation and Xbox at that point. And I was just standing up for the Wii U. The Wii U is the console to get. It has these amazing games, that Star Fox Zero, Pikmin 3, and like you gotta get one. And people are like, no, get a 360 as Call of Duty, it has Mass Effect as Halo or whatever. And sure, those games are amazing, but for the time the Wii U was that console, and I loved it for what it was. I think it deserves more love, and I feel like it's definitely grown on people and it's definitely getting more appreciation. But just I remember that time it was hard being a Nintendo fan, but it was also fun being a Nintendo fan. And the Switch
It
definitely expanded, but yeah,
Yeah, like owning a Wii U, I think the craziest thing that would be so crazy to see today was when Nintendo knew the Wii U wasn't selling well. So they're like, buy Mario Kart 8 and get one of these free 8 games. And it was like games
exactly.
that released in the last year. Or like the other one was when you could collect platinum points and then redeem
Yeah,
it for a free digital
it
download.
was Club
I
Nintendo. I love that thing.
Dude, I always remember my school library. I would track my Club Nintendo poster order because you would get like the platinum points, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, where's my Zelda poster? And then my whole room was Zelda because Club Nintendo just hooked me up
I
and
loved Club Nintendo. Oh,
so
amazing.
much.
My Nintendo does not hold a candle towards Club Nintendo and what it was. Like, I love that thing. But just that convinced me, like, at least Smash Bros. Convinced me to get a Wii U. And since, like, I got Nintendo 64, I was a Nintendo fanboy. And I still am to this day. But I definitely grown to, like, appreciate the Xbox, appreciate the PlayStation, and even appreciate things like Sega. Just even old consoles, I try to find appreciation towards all sorts of gaming things and consoles. It's just it was popular at one point, and it's definitely like a development. It started off with 8-bit, and now we're at like maximum 3D. You could say it was like hyper realistic 4K. It's just it's a journey for sure.
It's
Starting
a
off with things like
huge
playing
journey.
you play something like Mario, like Super Mario Brothers on the NES, and just like these little pixels, little sprites, and then all of a sudden you're like Mario Odyssey is 3D. Like that's crazy.
But you'll still have people on X complaining that every single pimple and freckle isn't accurate on a remake. And it's
Exactly.
like, do you know where we came from? Do you know where this started? From
It's a journey.
Club Nin- So sorry. I just wanted to get into this really
Yes.
quickly or kind of expand on this.
Go ahead.
From Club Nintendo, moving all the way to your own club, or should I say your own family, the
Yes.
441 family. You have a combined total of 939 community members on both platforms, and you've continued to build such a welcoming, cozy, and warm family as a content creator, as a person, you welcome absolutely everyone with open arms. So it's a known fact for anybody whoever creates art, content, or creates anything at all. Building something from the ground up doesn't only take effort, but as you build something, you also develop. You kind of like grow with it. It
Yeah.
shapes you into the person you are. And the most authentic way of growing something true is growing it authentically to be the person that you want to be. Would you say that the 441 family reflects you as a person, or better yet, has it inspired your journey as a person or a creator?
It's definitely done both. It's definitely inspired me as a person, and it's definitely another branch of me. Like, I remember starting that htorr441, my YouTube channel. That's the first thing I started back in February 12th of 2017. And when I
Mm.
started that channel, had just taken a class in high school of Movie Maker. If you remember Windows Movie Maker, they were teaching that in class, and that inspired me. Like, I can video edit a bit. I can expand from that. And I remember video editing a first couple of things, and I was really into Call of Duty and Battlefield at the time. And I'm like, I want to make a montage. I want to upload on YouTube just like those content creators back in the day. And I remember uploading on YouTube, and just it became consistent. From uploading montages, I was live streaming. From live streaming, I was making different retrospectives, different reviews, and along the way you meet many different people. And I feel like I can categorize different like videos of my catalog to like different points of my life, and it's influenced me. I remember where I was in 2020, I remember where I was in 2022, and just I can remember where I was creating those videos. And every single person I've met in my community that I've formed friendships with, I have friends that I've met since the beginning of my journey, and they're still my friends, and we still hang out. I've met them, even some of them IRL, and it's just shaped me as a person. I feel like it's helped me in many ways of just my journey through life, meeting those people and having a community. It's definitely a nice form of comfort at times with having people around you who encourage you, who support you, and who love you and what you make. So
Was it easier that at like the beginning of your journey to find people with similar interests online, or did your community kind of start from like people you knew in real life supporting you?
it started off with people who knew me in real life. I remember high
Okay.
school class. Yes, yes. It started off with just, it was hard finding people. It's hard growing a fan base, and I think it's hard for anyone. And for anyone listening who wants to start off a YouTube channel or any form of content creation, it's difficult. I'll admit that it's fine. It's hard finding people who you connect with, but definitely start off with the people around you. I remember just having a couple of friends in high school, and they were watching my live streams. They were spreading the word. I remember my first live stream was Call of Duty Black Ops 3. We were doing zombies Easter egg of Der Eisendrache. Love the Call of Duty franchise as well when it comes to zombies. But like, I remember they were like watching my streams, encouraging me, and slowly it gets to people. It gets to different people around the world, and they're going to start watching your content. They're going to start being more consistent, and that's how I grew my fan base that I have today. And we just try to interact with anyone who comes along our way. Like, if you love this certain game and you want me to play it, I take requests. Like, if you want me to play a certain game, sure, tell me, and we'll do our best to host a live stream of that game. Even better yet, if you have a idea or something for a YouTube video, let me know. Like, I love reviewing all sorts of games, and that just comes from just like the stemming from like my passion for video games. I just want to play everything, and that's why I welcome all sorts of interests. Like, if you have something you're passionate about, let me know. I love that. I love people who are passionate.
And that ties into exactly what you were talking about earlier, where when you consume so much content, you want to make sure that you're putting something positive out and something welcoming out. When you were like, well, still staying in the early days, when you were like creating like the Black Ops 3 live streams, retrospectives, and everything, do you have like a pinpoint moment where like it turned from something you want to do to like, oh, I love this so much that I'm going to make sure I always do it in some capacity or do it for the rest of my life?
I think I do. I think I have a couple from like my early era. Definitely live streaming. I remember live streaming on YouTube before moving to Twitch, and just live streaming on YouTube, having people who were like wanting to join your lobbies, like htorr, invite me to join the Smash Bros lobby, get me in there, or tell me when someone leaves so like I can get another spot to join in. Everything. It just made me so happy to see people like they want to watch me, they want to join my lobbies, they want to have fun. And I definitely feel like even expanded to like my friend group. what's funny was my like htorr avatar going back to like Ganondorf and everything. In high school, I was friends with someone who was a really good friend of mine in class, and she was an amazing artist. And I remember knowing she was an amazing artist, and I was friends with her friends, and she was friends with me. And I told her, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel. I'm just starting off. But like, can I commission you to help me draw an avatar?" And because of her, it was like she created my first like digital art of htorr of Ganondorf combination thing. And from her, that's how it expanded. And since then, it's become my avatar. That's what people know me as. And if it wasn't for these small connections I was making at the time, I don't think I would be where I am today. It's definitely important just to make connections of all sorts. You don't know when it'll be helpful later down the line.
Hey, what's going on, FTI community? This is James Merrill here to let you know that my new short film, Sugar, is out now on YouTube. So if you'd like to go check it out, really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy.
Do you know where we are? We're in the middle of nowhere. Isn't that cool?
And then it kind of develops into like you commissioning your good friend from high school, and now they're like, okay, I've created this. You put a little beacon of light into them, and now they're
Yes.
getting more like authentic and passionate about the art they create. So you don't know, like, kind of like, for lack of a better term, like the ripple effect that you cause, where they could have been designing so much more because you kind of started that for them when you were kind of like coming up with like your avatar, what you want everything to look like. Was that kind of, did it all just like fall into place, or did you have like a whole other way of approaching brand identity, or like a character that like maybe hasn't seen the light of day or has kind of been like sprinkled in?
Uh, it's definitely feel like a journey. I like to be planned. I definitely love to be planned. If I like creating, I want to create a character, I'm definitely already planning miles ahead, like of what I want to do, how I want to do it. Like you mentioned in the beginning, it definitely doesn't always turn out the way you want it. But when I created that character, I just remember wanting something that stands out, something that attracts, and definitely I think Ganondorf has orange hair, so I definitely wanted an avatar with orange hair, and I wanted something that represents my passion. So it was the Ganondorf outfit. I love Legend of Zelda. I love Smash Brothers, and I always love the color red and orange as well. So like everything of just my like channel is always like red or orange is like around that color scheme. Maybe like a purple, pink as well, because that like connects really well with the color scheme. And just every single thumbnail as well, it's commissioned. I love to have something that attracts, something that stands out. So when I'm creating a project months ahead or months in advance, I'm thinking about, okay, for this video, I'm going to do, let's say, the Castlevania project. I know I have this review code that I got. I want to review this game. So how do I create this thumbnail? So I think about it. I sit down, come up with an idea. I tell my artist, hey, I want this, that. This is a reference I got. Please create something. And that's why I love giving other people a chance to shine, like you said, a beacon of light. I tell them, use your creative liberty. If you have some idea that you want to add it. I want to see, just collaboration is so important. I want to see what you can do. And it's why I'm always welcoming as well to like different people who create arts of all sorts. If you want to collaborate, let me know. Let's create something beautiful. It's fun. I think YouTube content creation is so much fun, and you just gotta appreciate every little thing you get. And not only am I helping my channel grow, but I love seeing their channel grow. I love providing them a platform for them to express themselves, their passions, their talents, just everything. Like, why not? That's what YouTube is all about. And
That's
content creation in general.
honestly like what I was gonna say, the whole art of like content creation and art as well. Because if you're able to like commission an artist to collaborate with you, although htorr is like the channel it's reflected on, there's so many different variables and so many like people in on that where they make your thumbnail. Now it's technically a collaboration between two
Yeah.
people. The comments, as you mentioned, you're like, if you want me to try a game or you want me to do this, now you're taking recommendations. It literally builds the community and it builds a family to where, yeah, we're all hanging out in a chat room or a comment section, but on Discord it goes way further than that, to where you build these connections and you meet people in real life, as you were mentioning. You took the words out of my mouth again. I feel like you know everything I want to talk about. The world of content
It's just
creation.
connected. I mean,
It's
like that's what you
connected.
guys do in From the Inside Studios. That's what you do. You collaborate with all different sorts of people who are willing to let you guys help them in any way to just spread the word of their content. And you guys do an amazing job as well. You
Thank
definitely
you.
understand me. You collaborate with anyone and everything, and it's just that's amazing. That's what content creation is all about, and you guys express it beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yo,
of course. You
my
guys deserve
face
some
gonna
love
go
as
red.
well.
Cut this, Mega Matt. Mega Matt's the editor.
Mega Matt does an incredible job. Shout outs to you as well. Shout outs to everyone. Shout outs to everyone who previous podcasts as well. You all have been incredible. Keep it up. Yeah,
I
that's what content creation is all about.
what it's all about. I have so much love for absolutely everybody who has ever seen FTI, been a part of it, and just the conversations. Like you and I, for example, I could be mistaken, but I think you and I started talking through Twitter about the holiday video a few years ago.
Yes.
And from that, we kind of like communicated more, we talked more. And then I was like, oh my God, like developing a relationship with you was so easy because I know I've said it a million times over, but just like the feeling of coziness you
Thank you.
you give endless opportunities for collaborating and connecting, but it also comes full circle to where, as you mentioned, you meet somebody in real life, or you're like, oh my god, we literally met online.
Yeah.
Talk about some of these connections you've made as a content creator, especially being able to meet with an online friend in 2023.
Yeah, I remember I was streaming Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch maybe like in 21 or so, and or 2020 even. We were playing, we were getting along, someone joined in, and we formed a friendship super easily. His name was Zach Attack. Shout out to you if you're listening to this. But we connected so well, and he's been there in just so many portions of my life. And I feel like once you join one stream and you join my Discord server, you're always gonna be joining somehow. Whether I used to do movie nights. We used to do movie nights on Discord. We'd watch like a movie. We'd play. We do like a game night. Even outside of streaming, we would just do stuff in Discord. And like one way or another, you would be joining us, and you would be meeting either some of my IRL friends or me. You would be meeting like all sorts of content like creators and people in my community. And once you connect, like he became good friends with some of my other IRL friends, and I found out, oh, he lives in the same state as me. Like we should meet up. Like there's a couple of hours distance between us, but like let's plan it out one day. Let's do something. So I remember he drove all the way to come over here because two of my IRL friends and me were all friends with him. He came here. We had a good time. We explored. I recorded a little vlog. Brought all my viewers along on meeting him and that journey. And it was such a joy just like knowing this friend for so long on the internet and then getting to meet him in person. It's definitely a different feeling just between online and in person, but it's just like the same guy. Like I remember him like when I first met him, and he's still my friend ever since. And he's still the same person, like even both online and in person. And it's such a good feeling. It's such a warm feeling that I think people got to enjoy more.
I think that's when you know like your community is really like something special when you're able to not only meet someone in real life, but you more so continue the friendship than, for another lack of a better term, restarting it. Because like when
Yeah.
you meet somebody like in real life, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, like what are we gonna talk about? But for you guys, it was just like where you picked up where you left off on Discord. Like
Exactly.
that wild.
It was like smooth. It was just like I knew you like it was yesterday, and we're still getting along in person. It's amazing. I think it's amazing how like the people sometimes don't consider online friends to be real relationships. If you talk at least or friendships, if you talk to people like in person, they're always like online friends are nothing. But online friends are definitely important. I think you can form an online friendship and still have as good of a friendship as an in person. It's definitely even amazing once you get to meet them in person. It's an experience.
I would argue that it's probably even sometimes way closer to these online friends because like from like 2020 to like early 2022, all we were able to do was communicate
Oh yeah.
online. So as you mentioned, like the floodgates open, like where you meet somebody and then you introduce some of your other friends to them. Now they have a friendship, and before you know it, there's 20 people in this circle,
Oh
but
yeah.
17 of them come from online and 3 of them live in the same city. I remember the COVID days we when FTI was still doing like newsletters, we used to run like seasons we
I
would be
remember
like,
I was part of that, all of it. I think we
yes,
talked a little bit later, but like I remember watching that. Like I think I met you guys through Nathan 709. Like he was doing stuff as a Purple Plan and everything. And like I
yeah,
remember N10 as well. You guys were collaborated with a couple members from them. And I remember just being part of that, watching you guys. And like you said, I remember just those days, like it was all you could do is just online. You really couldn't go out and meet your IRL friends much. Online was just the way to live at the moment. And it definitely shaped you, it shaped us, it shaped content creation in general. Like it definitely
1
was a
million.
difficult 1 million. It definitely was a difficult moment for like the world, but as a content creation standpoint, I think it was definitely a thriving era that we might look back with a little bit of bitterness, but it definitely was an interesting period of life.
I still have this vivid memory in my head, and like I think it was Dylan Lorman and I, we kind of like talked about like just like the cringe aspect that like when you view something you create and it's kind of cringe, but like from the outside looking in, it's like, no, how's that? Like as you mentioned, like it shapes you. I
Yeah.
remember September 2023, I did my first ever FTI in person pop up at a punk rock flea market. So
Yes.
this was like two, oh, sorry, not 2023, 2022, September
24,
2020.
22.
Yeah, September 2022. So 2.5 years ago. And up until that point, from FTI's like beginning in April 2020, up until that point, FTI never communicated with an artist in Guelph, my hometown. We
Yeah.
were strictly online because I built FTI during like the hashtag era during
Yeah.
COVID, where hashtag game and hashtag music and meeting artists that way. So the very first FTI table, I literally got asked, they're like, so what do you do for artists in Guelph? And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do for artists in Guelph? Because I can say like, oh, I'm always open to promoting, but I don't have like any like artists other than like Emerson Corleone. And that's just, he's a phenomenal rapper and he's one of my closest friends of all time. And then I was just like, oh my goodness, I need to get more involved with like the Guelph like local independent scene. The next
Exactly.
week, I that mentality's gone. I'm still only focusing on like the online world. Fast forward to August 2023, and then FTI from that point to a year later, we're not really in operations to say the least. And so August 2024, we're just jumping many different dates. August 2024, when Atlas was created with Dylan Norman, I remember I said to him on Discord, I was like, I need to be more vocal in person. Like, I need to like be able to kind of like take these events on like head first and go like, I do things for the artists around me. But
Yeah.
the coolest thing that ever happened, well, one of them, because I'm sure you can take a shot every time I say that on a podcast, is at the relaunch concert. It was so crazy because I had some of my closest friends talking about people online that they knew
Yeah.
from FTI that lived in different parts of the world, like an enigmatic entity and Artie. And I'm like, oh my God, it's that thing where three people IRL communicate with a group of online people, and all of a sudden your circle goes from 3 to 20 to 100. And it's
Exactly.
just like, although at the end of the day, we're pressing an upload button, we're asking our communities questions, you're asking your friends questions. And the only difference is it's instead of online, it's typed. I'm sure I said a million things in there that got to that final point there. But what I'm trying to say is it's just crazy the different ways where you can develop friendships and
Oh yeah.
really kind of like connect with people. Other than meeting Zack Attack, do you have like any other friends that like you more so confide into to like when the stream is off, the YouTube video is out, you kind of go to them for like hey, how are you doing? What did you think of that video?
I definitely like I have a couple of people that I've known since like the beginning of my content creation days, and since like we formed such a good friendship that like like you said, after I'm done with a video or I just uploaded a new video, I'm done with a stream or whatever, I would ask them, hey, what do you think of this? Like, how could I improve on this video? What can I do? They'll be straight up honest. You know, you did wonderful in this, but you did awful in that, and it just and like sure, it's definitely and you know not encouraging to hear that, but it's definitely a way of learning, a way to like grow. And that's why the next video, I want to do this, I want to improve on that. And it's definitely like a progress, it's a journey. I want to make my next project as big and amazing as I can. And it's definitely why at times I don't upload as frequently, because I just have like a moment where like I want to like make the other video even bigger than I can, but I'm a perfectionist. I struggle. Like if I see a little mistake on it, I will notice it when I'm done editing and be like, I uploaded it, but I could have done that. That wasn't supposed to there. That little effect glitched, and it's just like,
Man,
like shame on you.
you speak the mind of creators everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Like, I want to say that although I love getting, as you mentioned, like the opinions of like your community members and your friends, I think the ones that stick the most are like the friends who don't necessarily watch like every video, everything you do online, but they
Yeah.
know you're so passionate about it that when they give you advice, you're like, I'm kind of
I'm gonna
like
take it.
prior,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're not watching every Twitch stream because your community will like just not get used to in a bad way, but they'll know what to expect. Where if you tell like your closest friend in real life and they're like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" and they haven't seen like your last three videos, if they're able to pinpoint something, they could be pinpointing something a community member has never even noticed. One
Exactly.
quick change, and as you mentioned, like you always want to make your next video better than the last one, and it's so wild what not only as you mentioned the motivation but just how somebody's words can affect your creation process to be better instead of kind of like a roadblock. It just
Yeah.
makes it all so much better.
I definitely agree. It's a journey. It's a journey, and like I think we as humans, as people, it's definitely hard to take criticism. I'm gonna be honest. It's hard. It's hard to be like you could improve on that. You can improve on this, but sometimes we just gotta be honest with ourselves. Like, hey, I can improve on this, or I did bad on this, but let's try to do better next time. Let's try to expand. Let's try to see where we can go. And that's the point of content creation. How many of these content creators we know definitely had like hard beginnings or difficult moments in their career, but they're successful now because they took those risks. They took those advice that they didn't want to take. And where are they now? Like,
And some of those content creators, especially like or like when you and I were watching YouTube like 15, 16 years ago, they were the pioneers of content creation. So
oh
like
yeah.
they were being looked at on like such a more like microscopic lens, like just waiting because content creation was new to absolutely everybody.
Oh yeah. It was small.
So
It was small. You had a handful that were really popular, and those are the people you were watching. There weren't like so many different names as we know now.
and like there wasn't as many comparisons because it, for example, I used to be obsessed with like vloggers, so I had to watch like
Mm.
Shay Carl, Charles Trippy, Jesse and Gina, BF versus GF, Prank versus Prank. And although there was people like inspired by them, there wasn't like 1,000 million TikTokers being like,
No,
yeah, like
there
this
wasn't a
idea
ton
was
of different
mine.
vloggers. There were just a couple of vloggers, and those were the ones you were watching. Those were the ones you were enjoying. But now it's definitely nice in a way. Sure, it gets some oversaturation for sure. It's hard to pinpoint which vlogger should I watch when there's like a thousand presented. That's why it's hard to grow as a content creator nowadays. But it's definitely like nice to see so much variety. I could see one video. I liked what he did. I liked what they did. Maybe I should incorporate them in my video and my projects.
Yes. I what I'm trying to focus on this year and more so recently with FTI or just like kind of like passing like what how I feel to my friends is I want to start putting criticism into like kind of inspiration. I kind of want to connect the two because
Yeah.
like criticism inspires you to be better because at the same time inspiration is absolutely everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's growing up being inspired by pop culture icons and brands, friends and family members, daily moments, or even sporadic moments. I think the age old belief of inspiration being absolutely everywhere is so true.
Oh yeah.
Take us through your upbringing from like the early age. You can go as far back to like pre content creation, pre video games, and especially what inspired your love for not only content creation, but being heavily involved with like pop culture and video games.
That's a good question. Like, uh, in my life, I was always a timid guy. I didn't. I'm to this day. I don't have a huge friend group. I don't have so many different connections in person. I have a core group, a core handful, and those friends have stuck around since middle school. I'm same. I have the same friends since middle school. I'll be honest, but in that timidness, I feel like I was definitely creative. I remember when I was young, Legos. Legos was my way of just expressing myself. I was building this, I was building that, I was getting sets of all sorts, whether it was Star Wars, it was Speed Racer, whether it was Speed Racer, it was Lego City, just many different things that like stood out to me. Bionicle, I love Lego Bionicles for the fans out there. But I just loved pop culture, and then once I found out about Star Wars fully, I was a big Star Wars geek I still am. Like, I love Star Wars, whether it's the original trilogies, the prequels. I don't love the Disney sequels, I'll be honest, but I definitely like just many different branches. And once I get into something, I want to learn everything about it. I want to learn not only the lore about the characters and everything, but like, what did George Lucas like the creator of Star Wars, think when he was creating this? Like, how did they get to this point? How did the inspiration come from, like, to create those things? And just learning from different people, it makes me inspired. When it comes to content creating for me, I have so many different games in my collection. I go to like flea markets, I go to game stores, I go to anywhere, and I would see a game for a good price. It might be a pretty meh game, I'll be honest, a bad game, but it's like $5. Like, I'll give it a shot. I'll buy it to play it. I play it. I'm like, I definitely liked it. I look up online, maybe reviews or opinions that people have, and they'll be like, this game is 10 years old, but no one has reviewed it. It's such a bad game that no one has shined any light on it. And I'm like, I'm going to take that as a mission. Let's focus on that game. Let's make it a reality. That's how, like, my first review was Major Minor's Majestic March, which is a interesting game because Parappa the Rapper, which is a PlayStation game if you're a Sony fan, the creator from that made Major Minor's Majestic March on Wii.
Okay.
And it was a side project, a spiritual successor to that game, but it flopped so bad on Wii. The motion controls are awful, and no one remembers it. And I looked it up. There's like, sure, a couple of reviews, but they're like 10 years old, from the glory days of YouTube, like you're talking about. And it's just like, I want to give new light to this game. So I make a review, and I think that was the first video I remember that like did fairly well. I think it got like 1K views, which at the time for me was like, it was like amazing. I was like, channel was 200, 300 subscribers, like 1.5K views. Like, oh my goodness, like, I'm going to keep it up. And I remember the next review I did was Superman 64, like basing on Nintendo 64. I was thinking about like, what's other games that I want to try that maybe, sure, Superman 64 is notorious for Superman 64, for like how bad it is. But I'm like, I want to give it a shot. I played it. It's definitely bad, but like, I could see why the developers did this, why the developers did that. And I try to focus not only on the gameplay, but like, how was gaming at that point, like in the 90s? Like,
yes,
it was a landscape for 3D. People were trying. Sure, the controls aren't amazing. Sure, the graphics aren't amazing, but you need to understand, like, that was new at the time. That was a new technology. It's like, sure, I'm not a huge fan, but like VR is the landscape right now, or it's still kind of not as much, but you definitely see many VR games taking advantage of new technology, seeing new ways of what can we do. And every single era is going to have moments like that, whether it's 3D, whether it's 2D, whether it's VR, whether it's 4K graphics, whatever the case is. And you definitely got to like appreciate that. And that's what I try doing in all my videos, like inspire to appreciate the little things when it comes to pop culture, movies, games, music, whatever. There's something to appreciate, whether it's the worst thing ever. Someone created it for a reason, and let's find out why.
And that's why exactly. And you took the words like right out of my head this time, not even my mouth. The idea that people thought in 2016 VR was going to knock people's socks off right away, but it's been 8 years and it's still finding its like proper place. Sure, there's amazing VR games now, but in 2016 you'd put the Windows VR headset on and you'd get a game for 3 minutes that was selling for like $40 because it was in VR.
Yeah, it was just like a small demo. Games. Yeah, exactly. It was just like small 3-minute demo. It's like, oh, I get Rock Band. I get to play like just a Rock Band VR thing. I get to play some guitar, but you're not actually playing. It's only a little like tech demo for like 8 minutes, and it's like whatever. But that was what was the trend at the time. What they were exploring. Like, you gotta appreciate everything. You gotta find ways, and it's like, just as people. You got to find ways to like appreciate different people's content, different people's videos. Like, you got to find ways to appreciate everything in life. Someone took time out of their day, out of their life to create that project. Watch it, encourage them, find out why they made it. Everyone's got a story to tell. You just need to find yours.
Everybody has a story to tell. I always try not to ever publicly say it. It's more something I say to myself. It's like, it's so much easier to get on the bandwagon of what's popular right now versus what your friend's trying to do. And like, maybe it's a selfish feeling because as creators, like, we know the time we spend versus like, maybe we don't give these huge icons in life like their 15 minutes because they're living their 15 million years of fame. So I never really try to like publicly say like, oh, you got to like give FTI a try. But if I have the moment to talk about it, I will tell you about it. And hopefully you see my inspiration is as big as what Taylor Swift thinks about her Eras tour. And as you mentioned, everybody has a story to tell from being inspired to actually give an inspiration your brother is somebody that I have seen pop up not only in your YouTube videos, but sometimes on like a tweet, like an Instagram story.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of his role in like not only helping you create, but is that also something that he wants to take off the ground running? Like, is that
My
something he wants
brother
to do?
actually has a YouTube channel. We started at the same period of time in our lives. Same day, we both started YouTube channels. He started off with Lego stuff, stop motion, and then he focuses now on like metal and rock and roll because we're both metalheads. We both love our rock and everything.
Yes.
But definitely, like he is, he's inspired me in many ways. I remember when I started off YouTube, and he still does. He goes to university now, so he doesn't live with me at home all the time anymore. But when he would come over for a weekend or whatever, I'd be like, bro, I'm working on this project. Come help me film this. Come help me that. Or I would be working on a thumbnail or something. Here's what I made. Can you give me some feedback? What can I improve on? He'll be like, do this, do that, or improve on that. And I feel like having that brother support, that someone I can rely on quick for a quick little opinion is so important. I love getting opinions, and I try to take whatever I can. And my brother's always been there. And he's definitely been there since the start. He has a YouTube channel as well, GamerPig6 or 613, depending on platform. Check him out. But yeah, he's definitely been an important part in my YouTube career. I feel like all my IRL friends and people I know just have been important parts. Whether I want to admit it or not, everyone has made an impact.
Is yours and your brother's kind of like center, like your common ground together, content creation and music, or is there something kind of like that keeps you guys together that's not necessarily content creation?
Uh, like we both love pop culture. We're both pop culture nerds. We love Star Wars. He's a big Transformers nerd. He would be telling me about the new Hasbro figures that came out, whether it's for Marvel, whether it's a new DC figure or whatever. There's so many different things that we have common ground on, whether it's Legos, whatever. So just any day of the week, we're gonna have something new. Like, oh, did you see this announcement? Or did you see that trailer? What do you think about this? What do you think about like Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom again, or like being in the Marvel universe? Like, what do you think about this? So we would just have so much common ground in pop culture, and we always have something new to talk about. So definitely
Yes.
content creation is there, and we both relate to that, but it expands more than that. It expands to just love of just life, love about different things.
I was always told by my parents growing up, and I'm sure you can relate, that it's like when you grow older, your sibling or your brother is going to be your best friend. But
Yeah,
at the moment you're like 8
you're
years
like,
old,
I
you're like,
hate
no,
that
I
guy.
hate this guy. But now, as you
Now,
said, you're like
exactly.
texting your brother about pop culture, Transformers, Robert Downey Jr., and it's like, oh my god, mom was right. God damn it, how did she know?
Exactly. When you're growing up, you're gonna have those moments where you're gonna fight. It's normal. I think every sibling has moments where you're pissed with one another, but you definitely grow, and you start to realize, like, we grew up. Let's set aside our differences or whatever, and let's enjoy life. I mean, life is so short. You gotta enjoy every single moment you get. Take advantage of all the opportunities you get, all the friendship. There's no point in growing old and being full of hate, being full of hatred towards everything. Just love. Just love. It's simple as that. Peace and love, as the hippies say.
I needed this conversation today because lately, and I was telling my girlfriend Danielle, and I don't know if this will make the podcast. This will probably make the podcast. I like telling people how I feel. If you don't know,
No, go ahead. Yeah, I love hearing it.
I just lately have kind of had that mindset of like, oh my goodness, like the seasonal depression kicks in, and you're
No,
just
I
kind of like,
understand.
everything is so crazy. So you're sitting down, you have all those like inside out Pixar Disney emotions in your head, and then you just talk to somebody like you and I right now, and you're like, oh my god, like as you mentioned, don't hate on anything. Life is so much more than
Exactly.
dwelling on negatives or like dwelling on hatred. So I appreciate this conversation a lot. I really do. So thank you for everything. Absolutely. That sounds like we're ending it. I promise we're not ending it. That was
No,
just
we're
a little
not.
side note. I just wanted to
We're just having
say.
lots of little happy moments. So that don't. It's all right.
And now something that I ask every single creator, for those who have listened to the In Your Studio podcast, for you as you've listened to them, this is my favorite question. It has to do with vulnerability. Uh,
Okay.
I ask every single creator the vulnerability in the creation process, whether it's a positive, a negative, or even neutral, where it doesn't have an impact on you or your creating process. How does vulnerability impact you as a creator? Does it play a factor or doesn't it? Or does it not? Sorry.
It definitely plays a factor. It definitely does. I think we all have difficult moments in our lives, and definitely content creation, being creative, is a way of letting that steam off, letting those worries out. Like I can remember working on a project. I think one project I remember. I took going a little story, a little rant, but in 2020, pandemic happened. Things were tough for me. I remember not being a happy, difficult not being a happy moment. It was a very difficult moment in 2020. And I remember just kind of taking a break from content creation. I was like, I got to find my footing in life first before I set my full attention on content creation again. And I remember just getting a comment on a YouTube video, like maybe 8 months later within that period or whatever, that's saying, I love this video. Where's your next videos? Like, where did you go? Like, I would love to see more. And that kind of like broke my heart a bit. Like, I was doing so good as a content creator. I was releasing videos that people were enjoying. And I kind of like, I felt bad. Like, I left them behind. Like, I left my sheep carried away. And I'm supposed to be like the little pasture and my little stick. And I'm supposed to bring them over. It's like watching my videos and people want something new. And I was like, okay, like I got to fight this, like you said, depression. I got to fight these feelings that I have, and let's content create it. And I remember my Castlevania Judgment video that I made in 2021 being like that big moment. I tried a new format of reviews. I think it was the first video where I had like a face cam. Like I used my like actual appearance. I was using an actual camera. I was using like things. And I remember just like many moments of that thing. Like, and that's why I created a character later that I'll explain. But just many different moments in that like shaped that content creation journey. That video is like, push away those worries, push away those fears, those doubts, whatever, and let's content create, let's express it, and let's make something that people will enjoy. And in that worm of just like everything, that whirl of chaos, I was like, let's continue. And I remember the next big project I made was my 4th year and extravaganza in 2022 or 2022. My channel turned 4 years. I'm like, great, let's have a journey. And going back to collaboration, I collaborated with I created a side character called Nixie, which is like a character who would guide htorr. And just as like I was dealing with many things in my life, I wanted someone to guide me. I thought my avatar of my like world that I'm creating, htorr, needs to have like a companion in their life to like support them and encourage them. So I created like this character Nixie, who was like a guide for htorr to like help him review these games, help him go through things. And I remember for that 4th anniversary extravaganza, I had gotten a voice actor. I had gotten an animation drawn for like as an intro. I had gotten a thumbnail artist. I had made merch, and every single merch was a different artist that wanted to collaborate with me. And we made some awesome merch designs, which I still sell. But like, I just found like a joy of just having people around you is so important, whether it's both in person, whether it's online, having connections. Going back to that, you got to appreciate everything you have, because you never know when you're going to lose it all, when you're going to lose someone. And just having that like vulnerability made me expand my channel, made me into what I am today. And sure, life gets busy. I'm a college student. Like, things get difficult. You have to like balance work, you have to balance school life, you have to balance free time, and you got to balance content creation. And I may not upload as much as I want to, but there comes periods in my life where I'm like, let's push everything aside. Let's focus on content creation for a bit. And I definitely feel like in those moments, I expand as a person. I had last year, I ended off with 4 great videos that I'm so proud of. I started off with the Xbox 360 because the 360 marketplace was shutting down. I then made a vlog for a local convention, and I met some voice actors, some dream people that I wanted to meet. Then I met, or what was the next video? Damn it, I'm blanking.
Friday the 13th.
The Friday the 13th, yes, exactly. That game was shutting down. That game played a big part in my like journey in middle school and high school. So let's focus a bit on that. Let's give light to this game that is shutting down, and people's got to give it a try. And then Castlevania, Konami reached out to me, was like, you have been doing great on your journey so far. 3 amazing videos with decent amount of views. Do you want to collaborate on this new game we're releasing, Castlevania Dominus Collection? Which I'm like, what? You always dream of, like exactly. You always dream of like these people get like free promos, like this collaboration, like whatever. But a company reached out to me and was like, you want to review our game? And I had reviewed Judgment, which is a Wii game that's pretty bad, years ago. I'm like, let's carry on from that. And that video, I had like a Rodolfo, which is like a little vampire doll in that video, which was like the villain, the weird side character. And I'd used that in the first video. I dusted him off. I'm like, let's use it for this new video I'm working on. Yeah, you're back. And I just love incorporating different elements of like story of things. Like you watch this video, you're going to see like a clip from that video or a little audio from that video that you will only understand if you watch the previous videos. I love including those things, but just being vulnerable, going back to that, just makes me be more creative. It definitely helps me just want to expand into content creation. And that's the person I am today. Those little moments of setbacks or whatever has helped me make me stronger, has helped me make me better.
And it really goes to show like you're a living, breathing example of how vulnerability makes somebody grow, because you can't grow in comfortability. Like you cannot grow in comfortability at all. So in 2020, 2021, when you were experiencing those things, if that guy or that person rather didn't comment on that video, that ripple effect and that chain reaction wouldn't have led to Konami reaching out to you to feel like that, oh my goodness, like this is so crazy. And something I talked about with CJ Cooper and Tyler Warden and Average James was the idea that like you're so focused on the now, you never realize what brought you up to now. You're either focused on what's next month or what was last month, but you never realize, now it's going to get confused with my wording, you never realize that now you're going to be worried about today, next month. Like, oh, what was I doing a month ago today? You were worrying. So knowing that like one comment can really make a snowball and transform you, not even as a content creator, but as a person, where it's a core memory to you, absolutely incredible. And I always try to tell myself, and I always try to tell my creator friends, and honestly my real life friends too who don't create, is like, you're not a machine. Like, although like you're used to like a Tuesday through Saturday work shift, you're used to like streaming 3 times a week, releasing a single a month. At the end of the day, you're still a human with human needs.
You're gonna have limits.
You're gonna have limits, and like if your body's saying like calm down, you gotta listen before you're like, oh my goodness, the glass
before you crash out, before you just like realize like I did all this and now like I'm stressed about this or that. You gotta find a balance. Just take a break. Take a break. As simple as that. Find that inner peace you need for that moment and come back to it later. Simple as that.
Exactly. And I don't know why, but my Instagram algorithm, and I if I could make one suggestion to like Instagram and Twitter and everything, is I wish Instagram didn't really hit to home that you looked at like one thing and now that's your whole like explore feed, because
the algorithms are weird.
they're so weird, and like they suck, because I looked at this one thing like 2 months ago and it was eye catching. I think it was like a rock star like with the microphone in their mouth and like they're really close to the camera, but I was like, oh, that's a cool band shot. What the page actually was, did we catch your attention? This is how you're gonna this is how you can catch the attention of your next Instagram post. And I was like,
it's like promotions, advertisements.
And I hated it, because if we were to go on my Instagram feed right now, or like my algorithm explore feed, it's all like 5 life hacks to make your Instagram grow. Yeah. And I personally don't care about that, because
I don't care much about it either.
And I don't want to expose the person, so I'll just say the person. This person in my life told me that I need to be on a consistent schedule of posting so I can always beat the algorithm. And it's just like, I'm not a machine, and nobody should ever have the mentality that they're a machine, because now your content creation is turned into a job that you might not get paid for now or ever. So have fun with it.
Have fun with it. And I think that's what is really important. Like right now, I don't make money. I'm not at like 1K, like followers or whatever to start earning revenue on advertisements. I'm not at any point of that. So everything I do is out of my own time, out of my own money, out of my own passion. And you got to have fun with it. If you're going to be doing content creation, have fun with it. And if you want to make it a career, there'll be moments, there'll be setbacks where things will seem a bit off. You will get different opinions, like focus on uploading more, focus on uploading short videos that have a catchy title or clickbait or stuff like that. And I don't like clickbait. I like being straight up and honest. This is what the video is about. Come watch it. And you will find your people. It may take a while, but there are people out there who would want to give your video a shot, and you just got to find them. Some people take longer than others. Some people, it's easy, it's a breeze, but it's a journey for everyone. It's different. There's nothing
For
that you could do.
absolutely everyone.
Yeah. There's nothing
Like
what you can copy one person and be like, I copied their style and this is what I got. Everyone's different. Everyone's different.
everyone's different. And I think at the end of the day, you also got to remember what a room full of 20 people look like. Like
Exactly.
a room full of 20 people is a classroom. So for someone to say like, "Oh, this video only got 20 views, it sucked." It's like 20 people watched that just
20 people
because
clicked on
like
it.
like I could talk about hours about this, and I'm sure I already have, and people already know
Go
how I
ahead.
feel about this. But like the idea that you get inspired by oh, there's a hair on my nose. The idea that you get inspired by something, and you're like, I want to work away at it, working away on it, and then all of a sudden you're making content based off the views this one video got, so you want to grab the momentum of that, and then you realize you've lost yourself in trying to
Yes.
create for someone specific that might not watch your next video because they only really enjoyed the one. Yeah, that's a realm where I could have my own podcast and it's only me talking about it.
You got to be happy with the content you pull off. So if you're not happy about something, find out why you're not happy. Like, don't, like, sure, you got to appeal to people to get some sort of attraction, but don't always appeal to people and change yourself in the process. No, be true to yourself, be true to what you like, be true to what you enjoy. Simple as that.
Simple as that. To end the conversation, and I really enjoyed it in your creator write up. We talked about it at the beginning. It's been
Yes.
sprinkled in a few times. Is that through your content, you want to leave an everlasting positive impression. Expand on this, especially because as our whole conversation has been about, creation is all about the perception of others and the perception that you have when indulging in content, when making content. What is your thought process or your blueprint when it comes to like your overall grand scope of being Hector, I guess?
Well, like I grew up with my parents always telling me, you gotta be a good person, whether it's someone who might be mistreating you or might be rude, you gotta kind of like turn the other cheek and walk away. And sure, it's not always great to have the mentality. I know there's defects in that, but having that childhood upbringing of that mentality definitely made me just want to be happy, made me want to like make people happy in that way. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and I also know that can be negative at times, but like I just try to be happy. I try to make people happy. I'm a gift giver. I love giving gifts to my friends. I love seeing them smile, and that also expands to content creation. I love getting uploading a new video and seeing people like, hey, that was a great video, that did wonderful, like, this and that. And I just love seeing people be joyful in everything. And I love applying that to even my life. So when I say like I want to leave a positive impression, I'm trying to leave, like, if the day I die and I pass away, I want people to go back to my videos and think about like, this guy, he created some awesome videos. He made me happy at this moment, whether it's now, whether it's in the past, whether in the future. I want someone to remember me and be like, this person made me happy when I was in a difficult moment. Just as many other content creators made me happy. I load up YouTube. I'm not having a good day. I'm going to eat a meal, watch a YouTube video. That video made me laugh. That video made me focus a little bit more on just the positive of life. I'm trying to do that the same way other people have done to me. That's why in the beginning, like I mentioned, it's not always about consuming. It's about sometimes just giving something back to the world. And that's what I'm trying to do, leaving a positive impact in everything.
Absolutely 1,005% incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. The idea that you as a person really, or not the idea, like the actual like living proof that you as a person enjoy just making sure others smile. At the end of the
Yes.
day, you can put your head on your pillow and go like, today I impacted somebody's life, whether it was holding a door, whether it was making them laugh for a YouTube video,
Exactly.
and knowing like one good gesture, as we mentioned with the person who made your thumbnails or the person you commissioned, you made them happy. And there's all these different ways to make someone happy. So it's so incredible that you create content for you, but you also create content making sure somebody can smile about it because someone out there will enjoy you as a person or you as a creator.
Exactly.
I think that is absolutely stellar. That right there is going to be how we wrap up the conversation because it is time for the three hardest questions of the podcast.
Alrighty. I'm
Number
excited.
one, you're a metalhead. You love your
Yes.
rock and roll. This question is honestly on a wider scope anywhere. What is your go-to anthem right now?
That is a difficult question. I know this is coming up. So I want to ask you. No, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to give different opinions.
Yeah.
Right now, at least as of currently, I love Ministry, which is a industrial metal band. They influence lots of other metal bands like Nine Inch Nails, if you know them. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But so I've been on a Ministry kick recently. So things like Ministry Thieves or Jesus Built My Hot Rod or stuff like that. It's just like, it's fun, energetic music that gets me going through my worship, going through my day. If I want something more at home, I might be playing some like punk. I'm a big punk fan as well. I love like AFI. I love Misfits. I love all these different, even local punk bands. The Order, The Fly. They're an awesome band. You got to check out. They're horror punk or Kid Dreamer. There's many different cool artists I just love. And even at that, just going back to like, I grew up listening to 80s music. I love 80s music, especially electronic bands. Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, New Order, Duran Duran, just many different things. So like, I don't have one anthem to choose, but I have many different artists I can recommend. Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, just everything. So I guess right now, like, I don't know. There's too many different songs to choose.
Yo, the moment you started naming 80s artists, I don't know if my brother has ever tuned into a podcast. I'm literally going to send him. I hope he listens to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to send him the moment you start talking about music, because right off the get-go, he will be your next number one fan of your music taste alone.
I don't want to expand too much, but I collect CDs. I collect vinyls. I love collecting all sorts of that stuff. And I've always wanted to do, if I had time on my hands, I always wanted to create another YouTube channel and just talk about music. I want to talk about records, collecting, just as I talk about video games, I want to talk about music. So that's something I might do in the future. Who knows? But I love music in general as well.
The really nice thing about your YouTube channel, though, is although like right now it's video game themed, you didn't put yourself in a box by naming like anything on your YouTube about
no.
So it could still be in that same realm too. You don't even need to create a whole separate channel. You could just have a whole new audience of eyes come in, and that channel would be sent right.
It's something I've considered. I've considered talking about. Let's talk about video game music a bit, like incorporate the blend of both worlds, music and video games, soundtracks or whatever. So there's an opportunity. I'm not going to talk about what I have planned, but you'll find that out later. Later.
Check back at the end of 2025.
Exactly.
Where it went. If you know the questions, you know what's coming up next. An artist or collective in your circle that you want the FTI community to kind of check out after they're done listening to this.
That's also a difficult question, but he's not in my circle, but I remember like watching him when he was kind of a smaller content creator, and I love watching his stuff. I'm a game collector, so I'm going to recommend a content creator called Botox Media. He is a guy who focuses on Switch collecting, on video game collecting. He goes flea marketing at times. Amazing stuff. At times I've considered like maybe I should start doing like thrift store vlogs of like going to my trips or flea markets, because I love finding deals. I love collecting. So if you love collecting, you love video games, check out Botox Media, BOTALKS, and a media, MEDIA. Awesome guy. His community is pretty cool too on Discord. But I would recommend him if you want some video game collecting stuff.
His tweets, I think, because I'm following him on FTI's Twitter. He always pops up. He's a
local friend.
He is just so quick with breaking news that was literally just made.
Exactly. He'll be like, Switch 2 stuff just came out. He has a video for it. I'm like, this man never sleeps.
I think the best one that's happened recently with Bo was his playing Donkey Kong until the Switch 2 is announced.
Exactly.
It was announced before.
I see he finds ways on how to get games early. He'll be like, I got Donkey Kong Country that he said returns HD early, or I got the new Mario and Luigi game. Like, he has ways of getting it early, and he already has stuff planned ahead. Like, if I want to be like one content creator, I want to be like him. I want to inspire to be like him.
Oh, especially with its amiibo. I thought that was the most
it's amiibo. Clever thing. So you get me. You know him. He's amazing. Check out his channel. Like, check out his content. He's a great guy.
And speaking of great guys, it is time for the third question. Plug yourself. Where can everyone find you? Anything you want to talk about, the floor is yours to stem the conversation.
Well, my name is htorr441, HTORR441. I know, kind of a weird name. Oh, well. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on Instagram. You can find me also on my Discord server. Join. We do different community events. different things to just connect people with. So you might meet your next friend on there. Who knows? But on YouTube, you have new videos coming out whenever I can. On Twitch, you have streams every other week, hopefully. And on Instagram, other amazing posts. And TikTok, just other goodies that maybe I can't upload on YouTube, so we'll post it on TikTok. So just a blend of everything. Check me out on all those platforms. You're going to have a great time.
If you're on Spotify, Apple Music, it is in the description. If you're on YouTube, it's in the description, but it's a clickable link because YouTube lets me do that. Spotify doesn't. FTI community, we are wrapping up the week here with htorr441 after celebrating him for a week. My friend, this was a long time overdue, and it feels like
Long
it just
time overdue,
absolutely
but
flew by.
it was a blessing. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and hopefully other people will enjoy this as well. I think it has been wonderful. It has been a blessing, a great journey, especially with you. You've been amazing. FTI has been amazing, and I hope that you guys have many more amazing years that you can just give love to other people, because you guys have been great.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
You
deserve
and
praise.
once again,
You all deserve praise.
I am speechless, so I'm going to put it there. FTI community, next week is our break week, as this is the 3rd week of February. So we will catch you at the 2nd week of March, ? Anyways, have a fantastic night. Love you all.
Right,
Goodbye.
take care, y'all. Thank you. Bye.